All right. Probably the biggest issue I had was what to do after it's all done. Here we are. This is the last page of the instructions, and it's just that ramp test that I told you about the voltage. You go on, it says, hey, you're done. Well, great. Now what? What do I do? Can I plug it in? I'll save you some time. Don't try looking on here for the answer. It does not have it. The answer lies out there in cyberspace. I'm going to tell it to you. You can go to a very nice gentleman who has more videos on this than I could ever hope to have. And I know I'm not going to say his name, right? So there he is on YouTube. He's got a series of 50, 60 videos. You're concerned with the ones right in the middle, between 30 and 45. Those are the ones that are going to help you the most. And he tells you exactly what to do. Now, it doesn't match up exactly, but depending on which kind of program you like to use to make your prints and run your printer, it could be exactly what you need. But to keep it short for you, you're going to need to load everything onto the printer yourself. You can plug it in and Repetier will do stuff. Now I say that because it's going to do stuff and it ain't going to do it well. You can move some things, everything's going to be out of whack. You'll be able to look at your EEPROM, it'll be blank. It'll have 0 for all the values. You can set some values in there and it will work. Not to print, but it'll work to move it around, kind of a little jog. But be very careful. Every now and then I would hit a direction on the manual control and it would suddenly try to go to 0, which it thinks is at the bottom of the board. So stop right there. Don't do what I did. Don't try to control it through there. Go directly to your Arduino website, which I don't know the website, but you search for it. You're looking for Arduino. There's the program for you. Oh, don't look at my VPN here, goodness gracious. You need to go to Arduino, download their program, whatever the latest version is, should work fine. This is 158. Get that, load it up. It's easy. It's just like any other normal program. It can be a bit big, you know, compared to some programs, but that's what you need to do. Then you go back to that directory that Folger Tech gives you, that drive. And let's see, here we are. And now there's a big file here. It says revb.zip. Looks like that. It looks different on every one that I tend to look at, on every browser I tend to look on it. But you'll need to get that. That's a quick, you know, come in here and up at the top here. There he is. It says download. You download all that, put it on somewhere you need, unzip it, and get ready for the next step. The next step is then to load that into your Arduino. If you have it all set up, it might pick up the INO file. That's what you need. Let's see if we get it here. But you load that up, it'll bring up a bunch of tabs in there. No, it's not going to work. It'll bring up a whole bunch of tabs, and that's where you can pick up with the videos with that nice gentleman I showed you earlier. He's very knowledgeable. He knows his stuff. I'm not going to pretend to know it, so go to him. But after that point, he'll tell you what to do. He'll tell you the basics. You're going to have to learn some Arduino code and some rep code. It's just, you gotta follow his directions there. It's great. He walked me through it. By the time I was done watching his videos, I was printing. In fact, I managed to print 3 things last night. My very first cube, without so much as too much, well, without too much adjustment. But I do have 3 other printers. So I kind of used one of the sandboxes for testing print qualities and everything, and it turned out great. A little wavy, but that's from the heat, because this one does not have really a true, you know, fan that blows on the print while it's printing, and I'm gonna fix that soon. I printed some small parts here, and it didn't come out too bad. It took a bunch of tries, but yeah. And then the other thing I will tell you, it over extrudes like crazy when you first get it. In the Arduino code, I'm just going to have to load it up here. Let me go to my stuff here. Sorry, I'm going to point it away. Who knows what's on here? Oh, get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not that kind of person. Alright, so I have a folder for all of my 3D printed stuff, all of the STLs that I download. They're all awesome. Thank you to everybody out there that does that. Alright, so you'll have your Kossel B, and there's all that. And there's that INO file. It'll come up like that, Kossel Rev B. So we click on that, we open it. It opens that Arduino. in here, make it bigger, bunch of tabs across the top, right? Configuration H, second tab. All that you need is in here. Which leads me to my next big, super big tip. When you get it into Repetier, which if you're using that, if you're not, jump out now because I don't know what else to tell you. But if you're going to use Repetier, which is a great program in my opinion, I would highly recommend you use Simplify 3D and then put the code into Repetier. But Repetier itself is great. It has Cura and Slicer, which I'm biased towards Cura because I use it at work. So, but right here he is. This axis steps per unit, default axis steps per unit. Treat this little section right here, and max feed rate, acceleration, blah, 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 all that good stuff here. Treat that as your EEPROM. Don't touch the EEPROM. If you touch the EEPROM takes over. And let me tell you, it does not work. So you have to treat this as your EEPROM. Put all your settings in here. Follow those guides from that other, or from those other videos by that other gentleman. They're great. Do that. Then come back here. And I'll give you the hint. This is what all I needed was this right here the whole time. Couldn't find it. Nobody wants this. Here it is. 80, 80, 80, 72. That's 80 steps on each axis, 72 on the extruder, which is still a test value because I'm still getting a massive amount of over extrusion in certain points. But we did that, right? Just like that. On my first print, let's get the calipers out here. And these are all pretty stock. I had to change the length of my diagonal rods and then do one other thing which I'll kind of cover. But bam, I mean, pretty darn close. And I probably, if I pulled it out a bit and just did the top because of that over extrusion, you know, that bam. I mean, I can't, you know, there, that should be about it. I can't even begin to tell you, I mean, it was right on. So whoever set these configuration files up initially did a great job. They just didn't put it into the guide. So, yeah. But if you're still unfamiliar with this, you can just open this up, use the default values, click this wonderful button that says upload right here. Once everything's hooked up, make sure Repetier is not connected to the printer. You don't need your power supply on. You can just hook it right into your computer with this silly little cord that's a foot long that they give you, and go. Just load this up and it'll print. Not well, but it'll print. So now you've got all this information in front of you. Maybe you set your values to the same thing that I had. Great. If you're looking, you know, some of these could be different from yours, some of them could be the same. But if you're here, you know, you've got the first leg up. The next thing you want to do is search around in here for, right here, it says invert X direction, Y direction. You see how I have that set there? They were, I believe, all true before. Or actually, I think it was true, false, true on the top three. Whatever it might be, this is how I had to have it. Because when I would hit home, the darn printer would drive itself into the board. Right there. And I bet I probably have, yeah, there's a nice one. Yeah, wonderful thing to have on your first try. The emergency stop in Repetier does work, but it does take a second. Which you can actually slow that down on this homing feed rate right here. Slow that down. Make that smaller, you'll have more time. But up here, right where I was at, false, 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 makes everything go to the top and home. Okay? Next. Manual Z home position. Once you get it to home, you want to measure from the tip of the extruder to the center of your bed in millimeters. 274 is what I got. Not exactly as described by the manufacturer, but there are some things you can do to, you know, kind of fix that. But that's what I got. Play with that. And the way, and that gentleman shows you in the video the best way to do it, to step it down nice and easy so that you can test all this without damaging anything. But do that, then follow his videos. He'll tell you how to do another step, which is to tell if you have any convex or concave prints.